I'm Megan, and this is
Tori.
Welcome to the first episode of How to Respect the Rights of Other Citizens.
Today, we will be discussing political polarization and how to have a good conversation without being disrespectful and controlling your responses.
Have you ever been in a heated argument over politics?
How does it make you feel?
Political polarization is an extreme divergence of political attitudes. The left is a Democratic Party, which values government-provided health care, increase of minimum wages, and expansion on LGBTQ plus rights, and better pathways for immigrants. Then, the right is the Republican Party. They value immigrant restrictions, limiting access to abortions, free markets, and reduced government spending.
Over the years, the two main sides have grown very far apart. Now, more and more arguments happen over what people want in our government. Before, when people were running for president, they would try to get both sides to agree with them and would make compromises. Now they try to get as many people from their side as possible. It's more a race to see how many people you can get on your political side than agreeing on things to satisfy everyone.
More than half the people that are in a political party say they wouldn't agree with the other party. We think that this world could use some more peace and respect. This is because most Democrats and Republicans have a hard time meeting in the middle over opinions. Here are some ways we can help being respectful while having a civil conversation. First, start off with an open mind and try not to interrupt.
Next, think to yourself before saying something. Is it kind? Is it thoughtful? Would I like what I'm saying to be said to myself? Try to be the bigger person and be more respectful. Also, if someone is really upsetting you, feel free to switch the topic or ask them to stop the conversation.
In a conversation where the other person being disrespectful can be very challenging and can make you feel upset. Here are some ways to deal with those people. Stop the spiral of rudeness. If someone says something disrespectful, don't say something rude back, or just don't say it at all. It might make it worse.
Don't take it too personally. Lots of people get worked up during conversations. You can also tell them how you feel without yelling. If you remain calm, they most likely will too. We decided to interview 5th grade teacher Mrs. Robinson.
How do you deal with someone being rude in a conversation?
Let's see. Being rude to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if they're rude to me in a conversation, I always like to think about, why are they being rude? Are they going through something themselves where they're coming across as rude, where they just don't understand me? I always like to kind of take a step back and think about why they might be rude. Kind of see their point of view. I also like to kind of just say to people, we can agree to disagree, because maybe they're going to be rude because we have different views on things. I make sure not to be rude back because I want to be respectful. And if I show respect, then maybe next time we talk, they won't be rude.
In a conversation where you get offended by someone's political views, how do you deal with that?
Political views are different for everybody. I have my political views, but I also understand people see things differently. So I just always like to think that we can agree to disagree. I respect their views and I see their point of view, and then they can respect mine. I have very different views than one of my good friends, and we tend to just not talk about anything politically. But I also understand where they're coming from. I just like for people to also understand where I'm coming from issues. But I like to also make sure I listen. As long as people have facts to back things up, I feel that their opinion is validated. We might think and believe different things, but when somebody is talking politically, as long as they have the facts of why they believe that, I think that's valid. And they should also understand that my points are valid too, because it's all what you believe. Political is all what you believe.
How do you feel about political polarization?
I think it's disappointing because I think you become a leader to represent your party and your people, and everything is just a fight now. The Republicans are fighting with the Democrats, and Democrats fight with the Republicans because they just want what they want. And we're losing that compromise and getting things done. I feel like it's so hard to get things done in Congress because nobody is compromising and they just want to stick to their ideas and beliefs, and they're not seeing where each other is coming from in order to get anything done. And I think that's why it takes so long for the government to pass anything, because it's always just a fight in who's going to win rather than thinking about the people they're representing.
Thank you for your time listening to our podcast, and a big thank you to Miss Robinson for your words on this topic, along with Miss Freeman and Mrs. Wagner for helping us revise and teaching us how to have a good podcast.
Here are some sites that we used: firsthandamendmentmuseum.org, Miss Wagner's Conversation Ideas, Fascinating History, 10 Tips on How to Have a Civil Conversation. Before you leave, think about the following questions. How will you react when you get into an uncomfortable conversation about politics?
How can you see other people's political views in a positive way?